Hey everyone, Pastor Nathan here. We're following Jesus through our Back to Basics series from Foundation, and in the in-between moments here, we're looking at a time of teaching in between Jesus's account of where he calls himself the Good Shepherd, where he compares himself, he says, I am the Good Shepherd in John 10, and then his encounter with Zacchaeus in Jericho. On the road towards Jerusalem, Jesus goes through Jericho, but around that time, the disciples start arguing about what it means to be great in the kingdom of God. This argument is brought about by a move that James and John, Zebedee's mother, actually does, where she goes and she asks Jesus to put James and John in his left and right hand. That is, positions of prominence and power inside of the kingdom. She's like, if the kingdom of God is coming, we want to be in an advantageous position. So she asks this, and the other 10 disciples get kind of miffed. Indignant is the term usually translated there. So Jesus, takes this opportunity and then does some teaching, as he often does. He takes the time to remind the disciples, or to tell the disciples, and his inner circle and the wider circle, that greatness in the kingdom of heaven is not about being, in places of prominence or power or wielding great influence. Rather, greatness in the kingdom of heaven comes by being a servant. This word servant is such a challenge for us in the 21st century because there's so many different depictions and definitions of what it means to be a servant. We get everything like maybe shows like Downton Abbey, or you get Hunger Games, or maybe a book like Harry Potter series, or even the M. Night Shyamalan show on Apple Plus TV, Servant. All have different depictions ranging from servant is okay, it's just a part of life, but it's it's not the best thing in the world, like in Downton Abbey, where there's a class divide going on there, all the way to the sort of demeaning picture that Harry Potter puts, that you need to escape this being a servant hood. Even the Hunger Games, where being a servant is punishment. That is, the Avoxes are the servants, and this is they become this by being punished for something they had done against the powers that be. Contrast that picture of servanthood that we have in our culture with the picture that Jesus points out, especially in Matthew chapter 20, where he says, setting aside your wants, your needs, and serving the people around you is the most important thing. This is what the kingdom values. The greatest in the kingdom will be the least in the kingdom, and servants of all. Even as Jesus himself, the King of the universe, became as nothing and served all of creation and all of humanity by suffering and dying on a cross. So for us then, being a servant is not something that's a punishment or is demeaning or is scary or even something to escape. Being a servant, serving the people around us, is actually the goal as we follow Jesus. It's a part of how we reflect him into the world, even as he served the people around him. So anyhow, I guess my question from that is, how can you serve someone today? Like how can you reflect Jesus's servant nature and heart to the people around you today as you follow him? Anyhow, hope that's helpful for you. Take care, and we'll talk again soon.